Good morning, everybody. Today we have a very eminent panel, and the topic is also very, very important because issue of governance of institutions, I think, which is very, very closely linked with the performance of these institutions. And my job today would be to basically introduce the topic and share a little of my own experience, and then I would request my colleagues in the same order. I'll request my colleagues here on the panel to come over here and speak, make their presentations. Father Christie, Dr. Himadri Das, Dr. N.R. Parasuraman, and Mr. Shivats Jaipuria. So we'll go in that order and request that each one takes about 10 minutes, and you will get a warning at the 10 minutes, complete 10 minutes, 2 more minutes you will get after that. Okay, so if that's okay, right? Very clear. Okay. in the interest, 10 plus 2. I think 10 plus 2, right? 10 plus 2. So we are slightly better than the previous one. They had only 8 minutes. So we are slightly better. Okay? So, okay, I don't have any presentation, but I like to share some of my experiences, and I'll also like to keep, within that. So in the time that I have given to others, okay. Okay, I have had the privilege to work in several institutions. The first one was IIM Ahmedabad, and then there I was for 21, 22 years, and then I was appointed as the Director of IIM Calcutta. Is it okay? Can you hear me? Okay, so I was appointed as director, and I was still on leave from IIM Ahmedabad. So on the rolls, I was there, Ahmedabad, for about 27 years. And then after IIM Calcutta, I went to Shiv Narayan University to start their School of Management and Entrepreneurship for 2 years. And after retiring from IIM Calcutta, again, I went back. I still had 1.5 years. So now I'm with Calcutta Business School, which I'm trying to help. It's a very small school. We're trying to help that institute develop. So in between, I also had an opportunity to work in an American business school, Southern Illinois University at Carbondale for 2 years, and IIT Kharagpur's Vinod Gupta School of Management for 2 years. That was on leave from IIM Ahmedabad. So I've had this kind of experience which covers public sector institutions within the country, private sector institutions, private universities, and also some experience abroad. So based on these experiences, I have, I see some positive things about the faculty-driven, what is faculty-driven B-School process outcomes, implications. I'll talk about the process outcomes and implications. There are some positive advantages which these faculty-driven schools have, and there are certain advantages which other kind, not the faculty-driven in the public sector kind of institutions, the private universities have, which I will very briefly like to mention. In the faculty-driven institution that I have worked in, these IIMs and also IITs, but I would say IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Calcutta, these two institutions I had, of course, I'm sure some other IIMs also would be following, basically, because IIM Calcutta and Ahmedabad, and within 10 years, IIM Bangalore. These institutions really set the tone for the other institutions which came up later on. And there are a lot of similarities between the processes in these institutions. In these institutions, what I found is because they were very much faculty-dominated, faculty-driven and dominated, the director over there was the first among equals. He was not considered, like in the private institutions, where I have seen, the director is seen as something like a godlike figure. I mean, they may not respect the director as God, but then that is the fear, because of the fear, etc. So it is there. But in the institution that I have worked in, IIM-A, IMC, lesser extent IIT, there the director is very powerful. Though on paper, all these institutions have the same power. But by the culture, because of tradition, etc., the power of the director, in IIM-A, IMC, much less. The faculty are very, very powerful. Now, when in such a situation, what I found was the director had a role to play in new innovations, not in existing programs, but totally new program, totally new things. And of course, general administration, day-to-day administration, infrastructure creation, maintenance, etc., all was there. But faculty were the dominant force in these institutions, and there were some benefits to that, because they were very empowered, and they came up with a lot of innovations within the existing programs, within existing activities, and the director had very little to do with that. But the other side of it, of these institutions, I would give, very briefly, I remember in IIM Ahmedabad, in early 1990s, a committee was set up to explore the possibility of launching a one-year full-time program, which later on, IMI started this one-year program, and then ISB really made a very big dent in this market and has become the leader in this area. In 1990, around 92, 93, 94, I don't remember exact, but that was the early 90s, a committee was set up, and we worked on it for about 6 months. But there are a lot of faculty members who were not interested, because I don't want to get into that. There were various other different kinds of issues, and it was shot down. After a lot of effort also, we were not able to launch that program. So that is the negative side of it, where faculty are very dominant, and if they are not, their thinking does not go along with the director's thinking, then I think very little can be done in terms of new innovations or activities which are not very closely related to the existing one. On the other hand, I now talk about the other institutions where I've had some experience, not very much, but some experience. There, because in the private institutions, private universities, the speed of change is much, much higher. If the director wants to do certain things, the vice chancellor wants to do certain things, it has to be done. Of course, faculty will work on it, execute it, but the thinking, the basic idea has come from above, and as a top-down kind of activity, it gets implemented very, very fast. And which I have seen in various, for example, in the latest institution where I have, we have brought in experiential learning in a very big way. It was a few years old, but there are certain practices which were there, and once I came on board, I said we have to focus on experiential learning. So many new things which we have done, which could have taken long time, if in the institutions which are very strongly faculty driven, if the director had started, had it come from the faculty, as I said, because faculty are very empowered in these institutions which are faculty driven, then things will happen. So that is the kind of difference. The negative side of the faculty-driven institutions is growth is hampered. Growth is very much hampered, because there are certain values which faculty have, and I think which are right, absolute right. When I myself was a faculty member, I also used to think that I think we should have small classes so that you teach better, the quality is better, etc. Which are very laudable goals, objectives. But on the other hand, if it is essential for the country to expand, there are tremendous, huge list of students waiting to get into the IIMs. But because of this kind of reluctance of faculty members to expand, thinking that by expanding the quality will go down, because of that, there's tremendous resistance. But once the government allowed many other institutions to come up, private institutions to come up, then the whole thing changed. Then the other existing institutions also were somewhat motivated. But I think you can see on the canvas of management education how many institutions have done exceedingly well, private institutions. Exceedingly, they have diversified, they have taken such innovative measures which would have been difficult. But I think I would request, I don't want to speak anymore on this because it can take another half an hour, but I don't want to take that time. I would request my colleagues, if they are able to manage their time, to talk about the process, the outcomes, and the possible implications. The process by which the board is constituted, the selection of directors, deans, and whatever. So I think I don't have to elaborate on that. So with that, may I request Father Christie to please come and make his presentation.